Hi everybody, this is Nikki and I am here to do, I hope, my last kind of wrap up with the Tandem T-Slim X2 with Basal-IQ and MiniMed 670G manual mode smart guard with low management features comparison. This piece right here is the only thing that I hadn't gotten a chance to include when I did my original document. And it's the manual mode suspends portion of the review or the log, the comparison. And the reason I had not included that is because I kind of ran into a problem, and that was once I had finished my Basal-IQ observation, which is the one I was more motivated to do because I'm wearing the T-Slim, so I was motivated to figure out what was going to happen without, if I had just left everything alone. My plan had been to get back on the 670G and do an equivalent run with it for 6 or 7 days, where I would just, maybe not 6 or 7 days because I know I was gonna have problems with the suspends, but at least 2 or 3 days where I got a chance to take a look at those suspends and let it run me a little bit high and then do a shot. And then unfortunately, and I really do mean unfortunately, my Guardian transmitter died. So because it died, that was no longer an option. Medtronic is all done sending me replacements. So I laugh, but I really am bummed out because I was enjoying, the calibration factor stuff. I still enjoy it. Okay, so the point is, the only thing I could do, I could wear both sensors during that Basal-IQ observation. But the tricky part is that when you're wearing 2 sensors but only 1 pump, then you can really only definitively say what that pump's effect was on your blood sugar when you do the test throughout the day. It leaves me kind of using speculation as to what the 670G's suspends effect would have been on my blood sugar. So that's what I'm left with. So this part right here, I say it's soft only because I do not have a true side-by-side, pump comparison where I was able to wear the 670G. But as I said in the last video or a couple of videos ago, I do have lots of logs and Caroling reports where I do know what those suspends do. I just wasn't able to put the transmitter back on for this purpose. So I can do what I can do. And that is, I'm already 2.5 minutes in, that is, I can discuss a few kind of snapshots, and this is when I was wearing the T-Slim in February, and I was interested in looking at what the suspends were doing. So I was wearing both my Guardian and my G6, and I was wearing the T-Slim, and I was just kind of looking at a few side-by-side suspends. So that's all I can do. I can tell you what the pumps did with the suspends, and then what my end meter BG was. And I have a few little snapshots I can do like that. And then I have one day from June 10th, and that was during my observation, where I can look at what the 2 pumps were doing with the suspends and kind of a few little notes about it. Okay, so I think I've already said all of this from that, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that. All right, so a few side-by-side suspends broken down. All right, so here's an example from February 20th. It's really short, it's not very exciting at all, but it's February 20th, and it is from 10:58 p.m. to 11:28 p.m. my T-Slim was suspended for a total of 30 minutes. Again, I was wearing the T-Slim, but I was wearing both sensors. My Guardian, at around the same time, at 11:09 p.m. So again, my Dexcom suspended, my T-Slim suspended between 10:58 and 11:28 p.m. for 30 minutes. At 11:09 p.m., my Guardian suspended and didn't resume until 1:09 a.m. For a total of 2 hours. Again, sensors being worn at the same time, but only my T-Slim. So when I look at what my blood sugar was at the end of that, it's as a result of what my T-Slim did, which was 30 minutes, which means that I can only say speculatively whether or not the Guardian would have left me in such a good position. At my next meter BG, my blood sugar was an 83. That's a perfect blood sugar. That was with a 30-minute suspend. I can only say that, in my opinion, after a 2-hour suspend, I would have been high. I do believe that. Okay, that was kind of 2:20 into 2:21, because that was until 1:09 a.m. So here's another one from 2:21, and this one is from 6:21 a.m. until 7:21 a.m., and that is where my Guardian was suspended for a total of 1 hour. Dexcom, T-Slim, there was no suspend whatsoever during that time. Here's another short one. So at the end of that time, my meter BG read an 87. So all I can say is I was at an 87 without a suspend. So then the question remains, what would I have been after an hour-long suspend? I do my hour-long suspends before I go for an hour-long run, so I know I'm rising at that time. So I probably wouldn't have been an 87. And if I had mixed in coffee on top of an hour-long suspend, I think I would have been high. But speculation, that's all I have. Okay, so example 3 from 2:21. Okay, at 9:53 p.m., my Guardian suspended. At 9:53 p.m., my T-Slim suspended. Sorry, my 670G suspended, my T-Slim suspended. Okay, at 10:08 p.m., my T-Slim resumed. So it resumed after 15 minutes, and this one I'm really looking at the sensor value. It resumed at a sensor value of 61. Yep. Okay, so they both suspended at 9:53 p.m. My T-Slim resumed 15 minutes later at a sensor value of 61. My Guardian did not resume until 10:33 p.m. So this was 35 minutes, and it didn't resume until an SG, or a sensor, Medtronic sensor value of 106 with 1 arrow up. So again, it's really only a difference of 20 minutes in this example, but the numbers, the sensor values at which they resume, that's really what's interesting here, is that the Dexcom, because it does, the T-Slim does resume once it shows an increase over the last sensor reading, it was able to resume at 61, therefore shaving 20 minutes off of that suspend, which is, for me, 20 minutes unnecessary, and of an unnecessary suspend. The Guardian didn't resume until it reflected a 106 with 1 arrow up, which, again, with the delay I experienced, could be a 138, it could be a 158. I mean, that could be already quite behind. But what was really interesting in this particular case is that what I had logged was that the Guardian still did not resume at an SG of 100 with 2 arrows up at 10:28 p.m. So at 10:28 p.m., my sensor was showing a 100 with 2 arrows up, which is showing a fast rise, but it still waited until the next value 5 minutes later to resume. And I just think that's really interesting. That, to me, that it's an example of how it's kind of too late, just too late. Okay, so example 4, this is February 22nd. This is a longer one. Okay, at 8:48 p.m., both pumps suspend. At 9:03 p.m., 15 minutes later, my Dexcom resumes. At 9:08 p.m., it suspends again. At 9:13 p.m., it resumes again. So that's a 15-minute suspend and then a 5-minute suspend. At 9:38 p.m., suspends again. At 9:58, resumes again. So that's a 20-minute suspend. Then 10:43 to 10:48, another 5 minutes. This was a grand total of 55 minutes broken up from between 8:48 and 10:48. So over 2 hours, it's a total of 55 minutes, but it's broken up with an N meter BG of 87. So again, I like that 87. I can't beat that 87. Meanwhile, the Guardian at 8:48 p.m. also suspends, and it remains suspended 100% until 10:48 p.m. when it reaches that 2-hour maximum, and then it resumes. In this case, my suspend feature would then be unavailable for 30 minutes, whereas it would not be unavailable for Dexcom. So that's 30 minutes I would not have a suspend feature because of reaching the 2-hour limit, whereas I would not have that problem with the Dexcom. And now I'm looking at 2 hours of a total suspend versus 55 minutes, and with an N meter BG of 87, and with my being able to say what would I have been at with an additional hour and 5-minute suspend, and my guess is I would have been higher than 87, but I think I probably would have been, high. 2 hours suspend is long for me. Okay, this is, 10 minutes. example 5, this is from June 9th. Okay, Guardian, I don't have a time here. I do have a time here. Okay, with a BG of 116 and my sensor is showing a 101 with 2 arrows down. At 9:43 p.m., my pump suspends. So again, my sensor showing 101, 2 arrows down, and my actual BG is 116. My pump suspends at 9:43 p.m. and resumes at 10:38 p.m. for a total of 55 minutes. Meanwhile, the Dexcom with a BG of 116, because again, it was the same finger stick, my sensor showing a 105 compared to my Guardian's 101, 2 arrows down, no suspend, and it does not suspend at all during that time. So here I'm racking up a 55-minute suspend with the Guardian versus nothing on the Dexcom. And I did not show a end. I mean, I think I was just showing right there. It's, you know, with a 116. My BG was a 116. And I did have my Guardian set to the most conservative, you know, the longest, probably suspend on low at 50, which is the most conservative way to set your suspend feature. Okay, so it's already 11 minutes and I don't think I can do it. I might be able to do it. June 10th, this is the last one, and it's a mess because everything got, you know, messed up, but I will fix it for the document. And these are the ones I'll share. This is all from June 10th, so it's almost 24 hours, and it starts at 12:03 a.m. And here I'm looking at when are the pumps both suspended. And the only times they are both suspended are at 9:22 p.m., sorry, at 12:03 a.m. with a BG of 73, a Guardian value of 66, a Dexcom value of 69. Everybody agrees there's a suspend. At 9:22 p.m. with a BG of 62, a Guardian value of below 40, a Dexcom value of 48, they all agree they are suspended. That's the only time they agreed on a suspend. There were some high blood sugars that day where they agreed on no suspend, and that's fine. But the interesting part is where the Guardian was suspended, where there was disagreement, and every single time it's where the Guardian was suspended and the Dexcom was not. And here we have at 6:38 a.m. At 6:30 a.m., BG of 106, Guardian value of 50. So here you can see it's probably a rise. A BG of 106, Guardian 50, Dexcom 86. My Guardian suspended, my 670G suspended, my T-Slim is not. At 7 o'clock a.m., so this is still on that rise, with a BG of 161, my Guardian is still showing a 57 and is still suspended. My G6 is showing a 156 and is no longer suspended. And then again at 11:07 a.m., this again would be a rising blood sugar is my guess, a rebound. At 11:07 a.m., my BG's a 118, my Guardian's a 59, my Dexcom's a 118. My Guardian is suspended, my T-Slim is not. That is just what it looks like over and over and over for me. So I'm going to try to put all this together in something nice and neat, but it really is going to be the best I can do, and I got to move on from this comparison. I got to be done with this. And get back to doing some live, you know, blood sugar tests, logs, whatever, and paying attention to what I'm eating. So that's it. I hope everyone has enjoyed all 89 parts of this, and I hope you are all in a good place with your disease and your numbers and your life. Thanks. Bye.